What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica. Happy Friday. We are here to talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It is actually the last episode. Next week is the reunion. So, this is the finale. So, let's get right into it. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment, and let the diva know you stopped by. Now, hit the bell notification to the little squiggly things are on the outside of it so that you can get notifications of all uploads, premieres, and lives. All right, so it starts off with everybody thinking about what happened in Las Vegas. Heather is going to have a new opening, a new location for her beauty bar. Whitney arrives as they're setting up for, I'm just getting everything together for Heather's new opening. And she asks her, has she talked to Jen since Las Vegas? And Whitney is like, no, I haven't. Like, no, girl, I haven't talked to her. And she's like, have you talked to her? Neither one of them has talked to her. And she says she does want to talk to her at the party. And Whitney is like, I don't know if she's trying to sabotage her party, but I don't know what's going on with Heather. But her and Jen do need to have a conversation. So Lisa actually meets with Jen at this bar. When she arrives, she says she needs a drink. I'm like, girl, that's exactly what you don't need. Ugh. Anyway, so Lisa says her heart broke. And the reason why she's meeting with Jen, because we know in the previous episode she said she was not interested in creating a relationship with Jen. And so it's kind of odd that she's meeting with her. I mean, I guess it looks odd, but if you give a person a space to redeem themselves, the only natural course of action is to allow them to talk about how they feel and where they were coming from so that you can hear where they were coming from. So Lisa is allowing her that space. I think that is a good quality to have, because if you just cancel the person and cut them off without allowing them, you know, room to explain themselves, one day you're going to need that grace as well, and you're going to wonder why it wasn't extended to you. So I think it is fair to extend grace to people and allow them to explain where they're coming from. So I'm not looking at Lisa sideways. I'm just like, I actually think it is a good quality to have, to allow a person a second chance. Even Jen Shah. She said when she was checking out in Las Vegas, she saw her crying and things like that, and so she decided that she wanted to meet with her. So she lets Jen know that it's really not a good look when you are getting up and leaving all the time and you're always leaving upset. So Jen decides to explain that it's because of my culture, where I'm from, and how I was raised. I had to be always in defense mode, always fighting, living in Utah with a bunch of white people. I'm not going to negate or discredit Jen's experience in Utah. However, you are almost 50 years old. And while understanding that things from how you were raised can affect you, there are times where you're just going to have to begin to unlearn that when you see that how you were raised and how just the way you are isn't conducive in having healthy, functional relationships with people. I think it's time for Jen to stop using how she was raised as an excuse and start unlearning how she was raised and how she was taught how to relate to people. It's time to unlearn that, because it's affecting your marriage, it's affecting your friendships, and it's affecting you so much that you have to buy your friends. You have 8 assistants now? Girl. She said that Meredith must have misinterpreted what was said, and she was very hurt by Heather. She thought Heather had her back. And she wants to know if she's going to Heather's event. And she says, to Jen's point, if you felt like this, why didn't you say anything? Well, we already know why Heather didn't say anything, because she has let us know that she is a people pleaser and the go along to get along girl. So that's why she hasn't said anything, because in her life, as she explained, as soon as she creates boundaries with people and tells them how she's feeling, they cut her off. So she's still operating from that space too. And that's the reason why she doesn't tell you when you messed up, because she doesn't want to lose the friendship. as toxic and disgusting as it is and dysfunctional as it is. So Meredith and Seth are having a conversation and they're talking about how they've moved forward with their relationship. They are starting a new chapter. They are better than ever. Girl, you look like you got pork chop grease on your lips. That's what my grandmother used to tell me. Put that chicken grease on your lips again. Remember when Mac had lip gloss when it first came out, baby? You couldn't tell me nothing, honey. Anyways, so they talk about how they're moving forward with their relationship. Then they start talking about Las Vegas, and she explains how toxic it was, and he was like, "It sounds toxic." She described it as ugly and crazy, and he described it as toxic. And she says, "I've just never had friends like that." And I just don't agree with what she did with making these suggestions about my marriage. And Jen did do that. I think all of us reviewing this were like, girl, you're gonna have to speak to and answer to what you said to Whitney about Meredith's relationship, and also showing a picture of some man that Meredith was with as like you're gossiping and stuff. You have to answer for that. You just do. Seth tells her, look, own it. We saw other people. We were separated. Own it. But just tell them. And she's like, no, that's none of their damn business. It's none of their business. You're making it their business when you're showing them pictures. To me, I feel like if I'm not necessarily cheating, but if I'm in a developing a relationship with some other man while I'm separated from my husband, and I show you a picture of said man, I have put you in my business. So Meredith, I guess next time you'll know not to share things like that. And she says, I just think that when people are struggling in their relationships, they kind of deflect and focus their energy on other people's relationships. I agree. I agree with that. So Ramon and Whitney are down to some school. He is auditioning or interviewing to be a hair instructor, and he's almost done with his program. So he did really well. Looked like he did fine. Was engaging with his students or whatever. So we'll see. Hopefully that works out for him. She says she's glad she didn't give up on her parent, and she just felt like a proud mother. And I just wrote right here, humility in parenting is crucial. I think a lot of parents operate from this hierarchical parenting style, and they feel as if they can do no wrong when it comes to their children. And oftentimes they do wrong. And if you're unable to apologize and be humble and understand that you have made mistakes, it's going to create strained relationships between you and your child. So Meredith and Heather are talking. So Meredith comes and visits Heather, and she is talking about Las Vegas again. Everybody's talking about Las Vegas, how disappointing it was. And she's like, I understand that Jen has issues. Somebody who behaves like that clearly is suffering from something. And I do have compassion for them. However, I don't have to be in a relationship with them. I love the way that Meredith is handling this. I really have to say she's very clear on her boundaries, and that her boundaries were crossed, and how she's just like, I don't know if I can move forward with that. That was a boundary that you crossed, and I don't know. I don't know about that. She was like, a genuine relationship with Jen will be difficult. Yeah, because the trust is gone. So we don't, she was like, because honey, if it was the other way around, can you imagine if I had said something about Jen Shaw's marriage to somebody? Can you imagine? Okay. Heather says she needs a clear apology because her actions in Las Vegas were out of control. And if my daughter has had a friend like that, I would tell them to drop that friend off because you don't deserve that. What I wrote here was that Heather is operating from old programming, right? And this is what happens when you start to become more self-aware, and you have to realize that I am operating from a space where in my marriage I was a people pleaser, and now it's overflowing into my friendships, and you're operating the same exact way. The go along to get along, the not saying anything when something is bothering you. You're doing the same exact thing. And when you come more self-aware, you're able to deprogram and release that cord of familiarity in toxicity. That's just what it is. So I'm glad that she's not going to be doing that anymore. I think it's helpful for people to come out of that because it can, you know, how you were raised, how you were taught to relate to other people, it is going to follow you through all of your relationships. I mean, we could look at Jen. She keeps saying how she was raised, how she was raised, how she was raised. Her marriage is, I don't know, compromised based on her behavior. Her friendships have been compromised based on that's just how I was raised. At 50 years old, you're going to have to deprogram and unlearn some of that because it's not conducive to your growth and your development. It's just not. What's really sad is that Jen is almost 50 years old and she completely lacks self awareness. It's really, really sad. They show Mary at church. It was an odd scene for me, but grandma with white Jesus baby. Baby, when I saw that, I was like, oh my God. My mother has a picture of white Jesus on her wall, child. It's just, the whole Christianity thing is a joke to me. I'm sorry, but it is. So that whole scene was really like, I was just like, okay, do you guys love me? Do you guys love me? And it seemed to be some people in the choir who were emotional. Maybe Mary has that effect on people because it was two women in that choir that kept like grabbing their chest or whatever. She told one guy, "You need to lose weight." No, why are you gaining weight? Is what she told him. Drink water. Don't do that. Don't do that. It was funny. So, anyways, it was. She said, "The church is a rescue where love should flow." And then the next scene, she's telling somebody, don't gain weight." But anyways, that was a whatever scene. We didn't really get much of Mary. Um, in this season. So hopefully we'll see her next season. So Sharif and Jen Shaw go salsa dancing. Coach Shaw can dance. They've been together for 26 years and we start the pep talk. Right? I know I haven't been the easiest. You've been there for me, but my heart is good. I know I treated you badly. And she says that Coach Shaw's been there for her, but a part of the issues that you're having with him is that he wasn't present at your father's funeral. So has he really been there for you? So, I mean, whatever. I know a lot of people have their opinions about Coach Shaw and how he's never at home. Jen seems to be hard to deal with, and she has people, yes men, around her who are not going to hold her accountable because, as we could see, when Heather held her accountable in Las Vegas, she kept saying she didn't understand, but then you're complaining to your husband that these women misunderstand you. She says, well, I have good intention. And again, here we are. This is who I am. You are claiming that. And as you're claiming it, people are cutting you off. So you can be who you are, but you're going to be who you are sitting by yourself because nobody has to deal with that. The only person that has to deal with that are the people you pay. That's it. He says you need to acknowledge your shortcomings and you're not a bad person. No, she's not a bad person, but you're not going to have many friends around you. And he was like, you just worry about your family, your children who love you, who know you. And she was like, I just wish the girls can see how Coach Shaw sees me and know that I deeply care about them. Well, if you are displaying how you deeply care by being violent and aggressive and you want to call that passionate or whatever, and I really think, and I'm just going to be completely transparent, I really think that Jen Shaw thought that she was going to have people behind her when she dog whistled white women, when she dog whistled how I was raised in my culture and being a person of color. I believe that she thought she was going to get a different type of support, especially from the viewers. The viewers are not here for it at all. The black viewers, the non-black viewers, nobody is here for the behavior. We don't give a fuck how you were raised, honestly. At 50 years old, how you were raised is not an excuse for your bad behavior. You're going to have to get in some deep therapy and deprogram how you were raised because it's not working, Jen. It's not working. And I really thought, like in the trailer for the reunion, she says something about, if I were to say I was going to cut a bitch, it would be a problem. Well, you said you were going to drown Whitney. You said you were going to bury somebody in their backyard. You said all these things. So what's the difference? What's the difference? It don't matter who the fuck you are. What's the difference in what you said? So that dog whistle that Jen sent out, honey, I can't hear it. at all. As they getting ready for the party, pink everything, everything looks nice. Heather's ex-husband shows up. He's odd. They take a picture with the children or whatever. She's seeking his approval. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And he's like, yeah, whatever. Okay, great. This is great. This is nice. And she just says she feels like her identity needs to be separate from her ex-husband. And she wants to show her daughters that you do not need a man to be successful. Meredith comes in with Kanye West's face mask on, child. It wasn't the time. You are not at the Met Gala. You were not at some avant-garde event. Nothing. It doesn't. This Medi Spa event doesn't call for this look at all. So it was off, right? It was, to me, it was dope as hell, but it was not the time and the place. Like, it was hella dope. The outfit, I'm tired of Meredith's blazers and bell bottoms. I can't do it. Her style is not for me. But how she's handling this thing with Jen, I love it. I love every minute of it. Honey, she has a straw drinking through the face mask. It's a mess. Anyways, so Lisa and Meredith have this conversation, and she was like, talking about how she met with Jen. And she was like, well, I just feel like she's loud and insecure, trying to prove herself. I'm listening to the words that these women are using. So Meredith says that her and Lisa have had this 10-year friendship, and she's not going to ask her to choose friends. She can be friends with whomever she wants to be friends with, but herself, she's not interested in being friends with Jen Shah. And Lisa explains, I was committed to listening to her, but I'm not committed to a relationship, but I was committed to listening to her. And she's like, I care about you just like I care about Jen. And I just wrote redemption right here. And she's like, Meredith says, well, I need space. I need space. So at the Oxygen bar, Whitney and Mary are having a conversation. And Whitney was like, you were right. She was like, as soon as you weren't there, I became her target. And she did. It was that thing in Las Vegas was so ugly. Jen shows up. Whitney lets her know that she is not going to be the scapegoat. She is not going to be the punching bag. She does not want toxic friends. And she's like, all of your energy, when it's directed at me, I don't like that. And she says she's very sorry and that she has to work on herself. She mentions that she is passionate and aggressive. She apologizes. And then in Jen's interview, she's like, I don't even know. Like, she keeps saying she doesn't know what she's apologizing for. But you're expecting people to treat you a certain way. It's just very unaware. And it's like, I just really think that she's going to have to unlearn that. And maybe it's going to take her until she's 60 years old to figure it out. But that's some things that you're going to have to learn. That's just the way I am. And that's how I was raised. It's not working. She walks by Mary. Mary rolls her eyes, honey. Heather says that she gives a speech, and she explains how, she was feeling herself. She also explains that this business has been a vehicle of success for her. She's feeling herself, and she doesn't feel like she needs to apologize for her success, and she's very successful and being happy at being successful. So Meredith and Jen have their conversation. And she says, I love you. I care about you. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt your family. It's like it was no one's business. And she was like, right, it was no one's business. And she was like, and she crossed the line. And Meredith says, I have to protect my positive space. I have to, and she apologized. And she's like, and I'm going to need actions over words. So thank you for your apology, but I'm going to need some time. I appreciate. I don't know why she's not accepting my apology. Maybe she's a little cuckoo. No, bitch, you're the cuckoo one. You're the one who's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Trust and believe. Heather arrives as they're having a conversation. Meredith says, I'll let you guys talk. She was like actually asking Jen how she feels about the beauty lab, right? So Jen didn't even, when Heather walked up, Jen is so self-centered. She didn't even tell Heather, like, this is great. Heather kind of had to get it out of her. She was like, so what do you think about everything? Oh, no, it's great. I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you. I was like, girl, you're a fucked up friend. She said she didn't expect her to tell her that it was her fault. And she was like, and you did not apologize to me. They were arguing, honey. They were getting loud. And Lisa comes over and she was like, can you signs. She was like, I'm getting anxiety. It was a mess. It was just really a mess. And she says, I feel like a pathetic fool and I'm trying to keep the friendship. And she says, I can't move forward until you own it. And she was like, own what? I don't know what I'm owning. You don't realize that you, okay, so she's justifying her behavior by saying, this is how I was raised. This is my culture. You're talking about my family. I go hard when you're talking about my family. But what did they say about your family that was so different than what you said about Meredith's family? And why isn't Meredith acting like you? Why isn't Meredith bringing all the attention to her when you really showed another person in the friend group a picture of some man when you made a suggestion that she was cheating? Why isn't she acting like that to protect her family? Okay, maybe she was raised differently, but do you see the stark difference? And it's not to say one was raised better than the other, but do you see the reaction and do you see how different and do you see how people are responding to it? Girl, wake the fuck up. That shit is gross. She was like, I need to hear it. And she was like, I will show up for you. She told her shot squad is on your payroll. I was the one that came up after. She told her, when there's an issue, tell me. She was like, I was wrong and I'm going to work on that. I don't know. I could not be friends with somebody like Jen. I understand that Lisa gave her an opportunity to explain herself and to express herself, but it's just too much. I appreciate the way that Meredith, you know, listened to Jen and but then also explained that I do need to protect the positive space around me and you're not bringing that to me. And so because you're not bringing that to me, I can't allow you in this space. And that is how you draw clear boundaries with people. There's consequences when a boundary is drawn and the line is crossed. There has to be a consequence applied. And the consequence is, I'll hear you out, but I'm not ready to accept your apology and I'm not allowing you into the space that I've created for myself that is positive and everything is fine over here. It's vibes over here. If you bring in all that energy, you can't come over here. It's a force field around here, and I'm not about to let you in so you can come in and fuck shit up over here. We're not about to do that. So what you need to do is handle yourself, become more self-aware of how you treat people and how people are responding to you. Not only how you treat them, but how they're responding to you. And then maybe we can talk. But I love that Meredith really was like, girl, okay, I hear your apology, but I need some actions. I need to see change behavior. And even in that demonstration, Jen was still focused on everybody misunderstanding her and then her not understanding how her actions affected everybody. Mary was right. Mary told y'all, and that's what it is. Anything else? I think that's it, y'all. Take care of each other, protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Peace.